Okay. That's interesting.
Omar, introduction, please.
Bismillah. Check 1 2 1 2. Welcome to 11 Gray. It's a conversation on a podcast. Everything is unscripted. My name is Umar Hakeem Day of Encourage.
My name is Arbaz, and I'm with tons of organizations. I just
Yeah.
use Arbaz these days.
And we have a special guest, Jihad Shakoor,
Mm-hmm.
the Prince of Altadena.
Pasadena, Altadena.
Altadena.
Yeah, it's Dina, man. We call it Dina.
The Prince
Covers
of
both?
Dina.
It covers both. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? Yeah, born in Altadena, born in Pasadena, actually. You know, lived in Pasadena first, moved up to Altadena, but
Yeah.
it's the same place. You know what I mean? So Altadena's by the mountains. You know, Pasadena's the city below it.
Hmm.
But when you live in the city, you have to you can't live in Altadena and not go to Pasadena,
Mm.
right? Because
Is there a feeling that you cross over when you're in Pasadena? No, it's
No.
the same.
no, it's a merge, you
Uh-huh.
know. But it's a different thing. But the school district is Pasadena Unified School District. All the schools are Pasadena,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So you live within the boundaries of both,
Mm-hmm.
and then you reside in different, you know, Altadena versus Pasadena. So there's some differences, but it's all the same place at the end of the day.
How'd you meet Omar?
Oh, my goodness.
Man, that's a while. Just in the you know, Omar's a
community.
brother in the community, man.
Mhm.
You know, so you know, our connection was, in terms of collaboration, was
Mhm.
around homeless outreach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was our real collaboration. You know,
Mhm.
putting together homeless events and trying to branch that out and you know, bring service to the people in the community. So that's our real, you know, jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you saw the list
Mhm.
and you saw Pasadena on that list, I was getting down with Rebound.
Mm.
What is Rebound?
Rebound, man, is my nonprofit organization. It's outreach organization, you know, centered around, you know, Job Corps, homeless outreach, affordable housing initiatives, and trying to promote.
I see it's an acronym.
Yes, yeah. Rebound is the acronym. Stands for Reconstructing Everyday Basic Outcomes Under New Direction. Right.
Mhm.
So trying to, you know, bring assistance to people that need it. Trying to, you know, encourage people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean, to, you know, change their direction. You know, especially centered around, you know, reintroducing ex-cons back into the workplace or formerly incarcerated individuals, right?
Mhm.
And trying to uplift the community from that perspective. So those are the branches of Rebound.
Mm. So when you first met Omar,
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. He's baiting now. Here we
so
go.
when you first met Omar, did you know he
There
has
you
an
go. There you go. I'm telling you, I'm a blast on you. Don't go there.
You know, it's been a couple of difficult weeks this January. You know, the last time we
Go
did
on and say it.
the last time
It'll
we
be
did
good content. Go on and say it. It'll be good
la-
content.
last time we had a podcast. Omar I quote. I'm just giving the exact quote. The one thing I like about Trump, unquote.
You gotta finish that quote. See how you trying to put the
Tell us
spin
what he
on it?
like, man. Tell us what he like. Tell us what he like, everybody.
So I want to know because it's been a difficult January, and Trump's in the middle of it. He's come to L.A. He's trying to cut U.S. aid. He's doing all this crazy stuff right now. Has your perspective on Trump changed in the last?
My perspective on Trump never changed. And a matter of fact, it wasn't my cat who voted for Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
He said, check this out.
My
You remember
cat
when you
ate
was
the ballot.
No, my turn.
Uh-huh.
You remember when you was in school and you say, my dog ate my homework?
Yeah.
This cat said his cat ate his ballot.
I couldn't vote.
The next thing you know, this 47 wins.
So you think he tipped the scales, huh?
No, his cat. You gotta ask his cat. You gotta ask his cat, cause you know if you don't, you can always get another ballot.
Yeah.
And he around here taking pictures.
I saw it
with-
as a sign. Because you know my cat, he's always like looking out. He like when I know someone is down the street because my cat starts like, because like if someone's coming down the street, my cat starts going into hiding because he knows someone's outside. So I just took the sign. It was like, don't vote this year. So
you didn't vote. You didn't express what our people don't march for and fought for. You chose not to exercise your right to vote.
Yeah, for president I couldn't because of my cat.
You go stick to that. You go stick to that.
Okay, and you know what my cat's name is though, right?
What? Cardone?
No.
Oh.
It's Malcolm. So
is that your cat's name?
That don't give it a pass.
Huh?
That don't make it a pass. That don't give it a pass.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So your cat's a natural born leader.
So just because your cat is named Malcolm,
he speaks the truth.
doesn't mean he has a pass.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I don't want to go there with you, man, because this dude right here, he like taking pictures with billionaires.
Yeah, we see. Man.
So, but how did it feel? Like the last 3 weeks have been crazy. I mean, for both of you guys, like, what do you think? Because for me, I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, this guy's an idiot. He just cut U.S. aid, and then he, on top of that, said he's going to own Gaza. I'm like, there's some things, and then he sent 100 people back to India in shackles on a military jet. That's $500,000 that were just thrown out the window to just make a point, sending a bunch of people back in shackles. You know, at some point, it was just like, oh, Trump is saying crazy stuff, and now this dude just sounds deranged. Like, it doesn't seem like he's in it for even actually building America up.
Nah,
he just seems like he's a madman at this point.
Nah, he's about self. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about self-image, and I don't think that's ever been different. You know what I mean? The agenda is, you know, staying rich, getting richer, keeping those who are around you richer.
But is he getting richer? I mean, with the whole thing, he's like, I'm gonna take over Canada. I'm just like, who is he pleasing?
I mean, it's still too early to tell what his real intentions are, because we still within the first 100 days. And I'm still waiting for things to unfold. And just looking at the game that he's playing, he's definitely trying to rock the boat and scare people straight into following him. I'm about that business. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. What's heartbreaking is the people that voted for him, they're affected by him.
Yeah.
I forgot what the percentage of Latinos who voted for him and percentage of black men that voted for him, but he didn't come across with none of his promises to his people.
Yeah, and then he is coming across with his promises, right? Because he told him he was going to be, he was going to have the largest mass deportation ever. I mean, he did say that, right?
I think he's trying to rock the boat.
Well, he also sent more weapons without congressional review. So he took out the congressional review to send more weapons overseas, right? So instead of,
Israel or Ukraine?
To Israel.
Okay.
So usually you have to have Congress pass to review it. He took that out. He even took the restrictions out that Biden had for 2,000-pound bombs. So he went overboard with that. You know, even with South Africa, he's like going after South Africa. He's going after the UN Council. He's going after the International Criminal Court. I'm just like, and then he went after Mexico and Canada. I'm like, dude, like he put everybody on the defensive. In the short term, they say that America's going to get rich for about a couple of years, and then it's going to tank because more people are going to be like, we're not dealing with America. America's too unstable. Have you ever dealt with an unstable person? You're just like, for a little bit, you're just like, this person's nuts. I'm not going to,
He's definitely trying to scare everybody straight right now. Like trying to cut this and cut that and stuff he really don't have power to do. And then on the white supremacy level or colonialism level, he know that his people is losing power. That when it comes, especially when it comes to diversity. I saw a video today where a black dude asked this white girl, would you rather black men or white men? And she said black men. And then he said, why? Because they melanated. I want my children to survive. So with trying to take out DEI and critical race theory, they tired of they don't want to face the man in the mirror who they've been throughout history. They don't want to be known as the oppressor. And plus they're trying to maintain their status quo, their power. You see what I'm saying? And they're trying to scare people straight into following them.
one of the funniest things I read was, there's a group called Arab Americans for Trump. Have you heard about this?
Arab Americans for Trump.
Yeah, they're in
They
Michigan.
probably hot.
They're in Michigan. Yeah, so they renamed themselves to Arab Americans for Peace, and they said
Why they rename themselves?
They said they feel like they felt betrayed.
They
And
should-
I'm like, this is like the dumbest.
Betrayed.
They
What are you
betrayed
talking
themselves.
about? What did he tell you he was going to do? I mean,
It just, it's just kind of wild, right? I'm just like, okay, if you want to vote for Trump, great, but don't. You started a group called Arab Americans for Trump, like you are pushing his agenda, and then like 2 weeks in, you change it. I'm like, what was this based off of? You guys agreed, said this is the move, and then you backed away from it within 2 weeks.
I mean, he didn't make you any promises. He didn't.
mean, that's
What
interesting.
He made
promises
one
did
promise. He
did
said he's going to
make?
end the war, which he probably will, but then he's going to take Gaza and own it for the U.S.
But you got to remember the nature of his business.
Yeah.
He's a developer.
Mm.
Hotels. So he see a whole new, where all the,
Money-making opportunity.
he sees a money making opportunity with everything that's been genocide and demolished.
Mm.
A new city.
Yeah.
So but this dude, I really think the power has always been in the people,
Mm-hmm.
but we are too busy following,
Mm-hmm.
and we're too emotional,
Mm-hmm.
and we're very emotional without an agenda.
Mm.
All these organizations want you to follow them,
Yeah.
but they have no, to me, in my opinion, with the exception of a couple,
Mhm.
have no real strategy.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
One thing Trump said when he came to L.A., he had a back and forth with Karen Bass. He said that people should be able to go and clean their homes. They should go back into the spaces in the Pacific Palisades and do whatever the debris. It's not dangerous. But you contrast that same statement he said about L.A. to Gaza, and he's like, it's too dangerous to live in Gaza. You shouldn't live there. We need to push everybody out.
Mm.
So like he had this similar scenarios in the sense of completely demolished areas, and he's saying one thing to people here, and he's saying one thing to people over there, and you have to think of like where's the actual commitment to? What is the philosophy? What is he pushing? Right?
He's not loyal to the people. He's loyal to his agenda.
Mm-hmm.
You know where Trump didn't come to?
Mm-hmm.
Altadena.
Mm.
Mm.
Trump went to Palisades. Trump didn't come to Altadena.
Mm.
He just basically bypassed us,
Mm.
right? You don't hear Trump say Altadena.
Mm.
You don't even hear him say the word.
And the word Altadena was not in the news as much either.
No.
Mm.
I mean that's one of the big gripes that I have. That's probably one of the that's the biggest disappointing news for me
Mm.
is not enough spotlight on my community.
So
Mm.
this is a segue into your experience over the last month, and I want to ask you to describe 3 dates with one word. I'm gonna ask you 3 different dates with one word, and you just give me that one word, and then we're gonna dialogue after that. Give me one word to describe how you was feeling on January 1st.
January 1st.
Mm-hmm. New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
Eve, New Year's Day.
Rose Parade.
Excited.
Okay. Excited. Excited is your one word.
Excited.
Okay. What was you excited about?
Just a new year.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Alhamdulillah.
Restarting the process. Putting new agendas on the table.
Mm.
New prospects.
Business.
New business. All of that. Just another year, because that's the cycle of the years. I mean, it's not the fiscal year, but it's the whole year. So 2024 is behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You accomplish what you accomplished in 2024.
Right.
Now it's 2025. So, on to the next year.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
So, next date. Give me one word to describe January 6th or 7th.
Well, 6th or 7th are 2 different days.
Okay. Elaborate. Tell us.
Well, the 6th was a regular day. Right?
Okay.
The 6th was a regular day.
Mm-hmm.
Weather's starting to change
Mm.
on the 6th, right? Santa Ana winds, which is something
Kicking
that
in.
people from Pasadena and Altadena are well accustomed to.
Okay.
Right, well accustomed to. Santa Ana's is, that's like a distant relative that's gonna come visit you every now and again. That's just kind of what it is. So the 6th was more of a normal day. The year is starting to get into, it's starting to produce, what's coming for that year. Politics a little bit on the table in terms of what's coming because the inauguration is coming up. January 7th, the winds are there. Right now, the winds have actually landed. My power was out at my house at 6:45 a.m. At that time. So the reality of the Santa Ana winds and the windstorm is now you're getting prepared for it mentally. Left the house and said, well, maybe that power just went out. Maybe they cut this part off this morning. Real calm though. You're not even concerned about it, to be honest.
Just another day.
It's another day.
Getting a visit from your cousin.
Getting a visit from your cousin.
They'll fix it by.
A couple of days maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
days.
The power's out. Check back in the middle of the day. With my wife and said, hey, is the power back up? Yeah, the power's back up. Okay, cool. You're not thinking about it. And then I went back home towards the end of the day.
Okay.
Thinking it was gonna be a normal windstorm.
Okay.
So you're trying to get your mind ready for that.
So give me one word to describe January 8th.
January 8th is pure devastation. It's just devastation. That's the word.
For those in the audience, can we? And I don't want to go too deep because I know there's loss in this, but for those in the audience who will be watching this, can you describe the devastation for us?
Yeah, it's like the devastation that you woke up to, because the night was very intense through the night. But when the morning finally came, the devastation that was there was as if a bomb had been dropped on the city. Literally. The city was still on fire. People were scrambling to figure out what the reality was because we were all evacuated. Right? You were evacuated. Basically, the whole city was evacuated from the east to the west. So everybody, at some point was told to leave. At different times of what we understand, the word came out, but you were already evacuated. So, but even to be truthful, in that moment of evacuation, you couldn't imagine
The emotions, the
what
feelings.
was going to be there, the results, and what the aftermath was going to be in the morning. That was something that you just couldn't imagine.
So, so we lost Master Ataqua.
Yeah, we did.
We lost your office.
Yeah.
Family members lost their homes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, community members, also became unhoused.
Yep.
What is the sentiments, or how are people feeling right now, days afterwards, all that's going on? Did you have a question?
No, go ahead.
It's more of the same. I think the devastation is still there. The impact is still there because the homes are gone, right? The mass shit is gone. My, family and father and real estate business is gone, right? Their home is gone, and there's so many people who that's affected. The majority of the community, has lost. The majority, and I mean that literally, the majority, so And since the destruction is now there, the dust is just settling,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now it's what's next. What's going to happen? Who has insurance? Who doesn't? What's the coverage amounts going to be? I mean, and people are still unhoused,
Mm.
and that's the reality. And even if your house was there, the ones that survived, now you're talking about the journey of the cleanup process and what is the true condition of what's left. So the devastation is still there. It's frustration, anxiety, you know, um, and some fear, of who's actually going to be able to come back to the community.
Mm.
Who's going to be left.
As a leader as yourself from Master Taqwa, and are you on the board or are you on the advisory
No,
board?
I'm not on the board. I'm not in any leadership role of
Okay,
Masjid or
okay.
Taqwa at all. I'm currently chair of a relocation committee
Okay.
to try to find new space for the masjid. But
You
I'm
took
not
to pray at?
for
Okay.
Juma prayer.
Have you found that space?
We have a temporary space.
Okay.
We're at Jackie Robinson Community Center.
Oh, you locked it down?
Yes.
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, we got that across the street from the park. So we have that now for minimum 5 weeks. Potentially the end of the month. We got a couple other options that we're looking at
Mm-hmm.
where we might secure some other space for Ramadan. So the focus right now is immediate. Is where can we have Jumu'ah prayer, Friday prayer, and then after that where can we hold Ramadan iftars and that's the number one focus.
So we basically been down the rabbit hole. Let's go back up. On January 25th, or was that the 23rd?
25th.
The 25th. Rebound decided to do a day of service. Oh, I gotta say this quote. Where you at?
Man.
So I text you because I was writing something out, and I asked you, I need a quote for something I'm writing, and then you said, the personal pain and suffering of my immediate family is paralyzing. However, the sheer devastation of my entire community compels me to act. The needs of the people in our community are much larger than me as an individual. May the Allah, the Creator, give us strength.
I mean,
What motivated you to do a day of service?
yeah, I mean that in it, that statement right there, because you see the impact. The impact is real. It's like you cannot escape the impact because it's so many people that are down at the convention center. They're down at the Rose Bowl. They're displaced out of the city, right? There's lines all around the city for supplies, for water, for drinking water. The power is out. The utilities are out, even in the properties that are still there. That's the immediate aftermath, right? So you come out of that, and then, everyone needs, food, clothing, shelter, right? The entire city needs those things, right? Then you have the military come in, right? The National Guard is there. The city streets are blocked off. After the first day, after the aftermath, the first day, January 8th, people were able to access some of the locations, right? And then the next day after that, the National Guard came in. You couldn't even get in for the next week. So everyone's displaced.
So according to this quote, you was compelled to act.
Yeah.
Put your situation to the side and serve the people, because that's what we all are used to, by providing the action for the people. The opportunity that you gave me in our Baz, because I haven't been in the serving space in a minute, since humanitarian day. I haven't been in that space for a minute. And it gave me the opportunity to network with the network that I have. You see what I'm saying? And that's when I network with Sahaba Initiative.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful day, and it was a blessing that
That
you
we.
both and we all were able to come together, right, and support the needs of the community. It was a beautiful day. It was uplifting for me to see. It was also it was also you know a bit emotional again because again you're in it and you see so many people that are in need,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that reality is it just keeps coming back to you. So you really just can't escape it, But
Mm-hmm.
we were also blessed
Mm-hmm.
to be given the grounds by the First AME Church
Mm.
and Reverend
Pasadena first
Campbell,
name yeah, Reverend Campbell.
passing the First AME Church,
May God reward him.
Yeah, so giving us the space to do that.
That was the first place you did Juma at, right?
Yeah, they gave us their hall for 2 weeks straight and let
2 weeks
us
straight.
hold Juma prayer at the church hall at First AME Church,
Well,
Raymond Avenue, Pasadena. So
one thing I kept hearing from people that day and afterwards, I asked people, I was like, hey, what's the thing that you guys need the most? Like, what do you guys need the most? And it wasn't like items. It was like, we need people. We need people to help us get these things going. Like, people are like, I need somebody to help me figure out my life, how to get things back together. We need volunteers. We need humans. That's like the biggest asset, right? If you
Yeah.
think about it, it's like, it just goes to show the power of human connection. It's like the ability to rebuild, or for somebody that's gone through something, that ability to rebuild is through another human being giving a part of themselves to that person, right? Their time, their effort, the just the listening ear, all that stuff.
So let me ask you a question.
Uh,
What compelled you to act and bring your organization into this situation?
what compelled me to act? I mean, it's just I guess the way I operate is that if there's a problem in the world and I have an ability to solve it, I'm gonna solve it. Whatever that problem is, like literally could be any problem, and I have some way to help, I'm gonna do it, right?
Mhm.
So, for me, it's like it wasn't a difficult thing for us to organize people. It wasn't difficult for us to organize volunteers or reach out to donors or whatever else, because it's just like everyone is sitting around asking themselves, what can we do? Right? People are asking this question every single day. It's like, hey, what can we do? What can we do? People call. Like, anytime something happens, I typically get a ton of calls like, hey, what can we do? And like, I have one or two options. I could be like, oh, there's X, Y, and Z person out there that could do this, or I could spend some time and do something about it, right? And I think that's just I've gotten used to this. Like, in the last 4 years, I was talking to our team about this. It was like, we've had the fires we're helping out this time. In the past, we've had tons of fires because we're in San Bernardino, so we're constantly helping people with fires. During COVID, we were doing a lot of the COVID food distributions in the Inland Empire. During the Afghan, when the U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan and many people were coming to the U.S. as refugees in an emergency situation, we responded to that too. So it's like we've been kind of like trained, like, hey, every few months we gotta like get up and do something because the world has been pretty wild the last 5 years.
Needs you.
Yeah, that's a blessing, man.
Yeah. For me, what compelled me to act was my people.
And you put the people first to a very extreme extent during that week, because at the same time you were trying to navigate other things.
Well, I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital. I caught that flu. That flu tore my ass up.
Oh man,
My blood pressure went up, and I was like, "But you can't stop." So we was able to get everything that you needed before I committed myself to the hospital. But what brought me joy, every time I called, the Prince is greeting his people. He was greeting his people. He had me on hold. I held on just to listen.
Yeah.
He was greeting his people. I don't know if anybody know the feeling when it comes to serving people.
yeah,
There's a certain reward that the Creator gives you that you can't really describe. and I heard it over the phone. So it really, I wanted to be there, but I knew our work was there, and it kind of gave me an opportunity to jump back into the space that I was previously in. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, just to hear y'all just, oh my goodness. Everybody came for, several organizations came together.
Yeah.
Sakat Foundation, Human Appeal, Najuma's organization, ISOC, Isla LA,
ICNA.
ICNA.
Yeah.
Oh man, shout out to Abdul Zakaria, because he taught me about data, acquiring data.
Yeah.
I always knew about acquiring data, but he's a data master. You know what I'm saying? Who else?
Lil
Let me see
Center
something on the back of your shirt. Let me see something. I don't want to leave nobody out.
You want to see who it is?
Yeah, I want to see who it is. So, Masjid Al Taqwa, Isla LA, Sahaba Initiative, Encourage, LA Voice, Sakat Foundation, Islamic Center of Orange County, Muslim Arc, La Kenyatta Muslim Community, Halal Project, South Los Angeles Muslim Council, First EME, Southern California Empowerment Corporation, VAM, and Kanafa Queens.
And we can't forget the fish. The fish was so bomb. The fish and the bean soup.
Who brought the?
Yeah.
That
Was that a Shabazz restaurant?
no, that was
brother.
It's a
that
Jamaican.
was a Jamaican restaurant spot.
The fish was like that.
Fish was.
I didn't have it.
The
You didn't
fish.
have it?
I tasted the bean soup, which was good.
Fish was like
I
amongst
I saw
the
that
best.
interview talk about one meal a day.
Yeah. What was his name? Derek.
Derek,
Yeah.
Derek.
He lives in the Inland Empire, so we were talking. He lives in the IE.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to. The reason I wanted to read your shirt because I don't want to leave nobody out. I'm good for that. But and it was more organizations that wanted to join, but we didn't want to turn it into a spectators event.
You know, it was good. You know,
It was good?
That was great. You know, that was great. You know, everybody came and did their part, man. And we were, you know, all blessed to be able to put that together.
The volunteers showed up.
Yeah, the volunteers showed up. You know, they came. Everybody came out, man, and we were you know, we were one unit. We were one unit at the end of the day. You know, it was a great day. You know, we served a lot of people. It's and similar to what, you know, me and you have discussions about Pasadena all the time about, you know, my grassroots connections and how the city operates, right? So, you know, even after putting the word out and it hits the wire, you know, people spread the word and tell more people, and people keep coming, and you know, you get these waves of people, you know, these clusters, and then more people keep coming, and at the end of the day, you know, you're in the middle of the event and you're thinking we got a lot of supplies, and you just say, nah, we're gonna be all right, just keep going, and by the end of it, most of it or everything is gone. You know,
I tell you, boy, this is when you see how the Creator provides, because as much as they want to paint our narrative as something bad in the United States, the Muslim community are first responders.
oh, for sure.
We are first responders off the back. When it comes to charity, we I think it was nationwide we moved like $1 billion. When it comes to charity in California alone, I think it was like $100 million. And I know that day we moved at least anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000. You see what I'm saying? Of in-kind donations, of people just coming to the forefront. Can I help? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's nothing that your president. See how I threw that in? It's nothing.
or the cats.
It's nothing that your cat's president could say about our community, because our community are first responders.
Yeah.
We always on the front line, ready to help because of what Allah tells us in our book of providing neighborly needs.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I will say when he cut U.S. aid, a lot of the benefit of the doubt that I gave him like just disappeared. I'm just like, man, this dude's nuts. Like, how are you gonna cut aid to all these countries? And on top of that, it's also aid that we give using America's soft power, because we're only selling America when we give this aid. It's bags of U.S. aid, and that's our soft power. So to two extents, it's like you're building up America's narrative, and on the second hand, you're also helping people. So I'm like, what is the exact goal here? You're hurting our image and you're helping less people.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a wild thing to do, right?
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, it makes no sense, you know.
Like I said, we're still within the first 100 days. He's just trying to rock the boat for what he really got planned. He's trying to scare people straight into following him for the next phase of his work.
Yeah, and it's a flooding, right? It's a flooding. You heard Bannon say the same thing from a strategic perspective, right? They're trying to flood the table with as much stuff that they could possibly, any and everything they have on their agenda. They're trying to put it out on the table and kind of get a response on what's gonna have any legs, or who's gonna bite on it.
It's wild.
Crazy.
Before I ask my next question, I just have to say this whole thing with Elon Musk and him going in there cutting the department. Tesla and SpaceX has been funded by the government for like a decade. Like he's gotten so much government money. And don't quote me on the numbers. But I want to say SpaceX probably got $500 billion.
Right.
Same thing with Tesla. Like it was funded by the government. So this idea that we need to slash the government because there's a wasteful spending. I'm like, dude, you made all this money off the government, right?
They're trying to hold on to their power, man. They know that they are facing a more divergent world of diversity, and they could no longer. Their privilege cannot survive the way they've been putting it down for like the last over 400 years.
Especially if you have to answer questions and tell the truth, right?
Oh my God, say that again.
The history and what the country's built on, and the discrimination.
They're trying to rewrite history.
And all those type of things. They don't want you to talk about these things that are real and that are actual factual history. You know what I mean? And you want to live in a bubble or this facade that you got everything because of all your wits, and to your point about like Elon Musk, and you didn't get any leg up, no assistance from anywhere, right? And that's just not true.
I have a problem when billionaires complain. When a billionaires I was in the UK, and the professor, she said, complaining is the advertisement of your ignorance. I have a problem with a billion because you've been blessed with the mercy to solve a lot of things, just with the capital that you have alone. But you want to get out here and complain like it's just like everything is going bad for you. No.
So who's the richest person in the world right now?
I believe it's Musk, right?
So what I heard is that it's not Musk. It's actually still Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
But the thing is,
she's spread it out, huh?
So he donates so much of his money to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that he doesn't come out as the richest person anymore because he pushes a bunch of it to the foundation. Now the foundation does good and bad because the foundation also works in the strategic interests of Bill Gates and his work, but it also helps people. So it's kind of like it's interesting. I'm like, why don't the rest of the billionaires just do that, right? I'm like, you're helping people, but then you're also, you're helping your strategic interests.
I don't know their agenda though, man. Even Bill Gates, I'm a fan of Bill Gates when it comes to Microsoft, because that's all I use is PC. But at the same time, these billionaires got a whole different agenda. They're trying to hold on to their power at all costs. So, and it's going to be at the expense of the people who have less. There's no way in the world, and I'm going to stop here. There's no way in the world our teachers should be fundraising for school supplies.
Nah, man, the wealth gap is just getting wider and wider, and it's really unnecessary. You're almost, going towards eliminating the middle class, and I mean it's just excess, and it's greed, and it just doesn't really have to be that way. You know what I mean? It's just unnecessary. The things that they're like cutting, and the little people, right? The little people are the ones getting hurt by all of these type of decisions.
Price of eggs are still haven't gone down.
Nah.
I only eat eggs, so I'm just like, how am I cheap eggs? I'm gonna start get a bunch of chickens and keep them in my car.
There's a girl on Instagram. She's dealing eggs like it's a drug deal.
Oh man.
She's dealing eggs like, you got it? Yeah, I got it.
So yeah. So I got a question for you, Jihad. So in all of this, what was your feeling of the government response? Because like, there's so many talks about FEMA, the mayor, all these other things, but what was the actual feeling? But politics aside, like when dealing with all of the stakeholders.
I mean, at this point, I think it was good.
Hmm.
To be honest, I think it was good. The response, from the governor's level, coming down and trying to get the aid in. I think it's hard for a lot of people in the community. I think it's a difficult thing to adjust your perspective depending on what your experience was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the person that's at the convention center,
Yeah.
you may have a different perspective on that because your house is gone, you have nowhere to go, right? And and your perspective is gonna be that I needed more than this.
Mhm.
This is not enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think there's various degrees, from the people that are unhoused to the people that are displaced, right? There's this concept of even survivor's grief,
Mhm.
in the community, right? Where people and survivor's remorse, where people feel a certain kind of way about the fact that their home didn't burn down to the ground, right? But the impact is still, still devastating because everything around you is devastated. So, I think they came in. It was difficult. Whenever the National Guard comes in and takes control
Yeah.
over your community, right? And you watch this on TV, you see this on the news. But when it's home, right, and you can't get past the block,
Yeah.
that's a different feeling, and it became frustrating over time. So some of those lines are crossing in terms of the response that was necessary, versus not. Because the truth of the matter is, the first day, on January 8th, it was a wild place to be, because things were still on fire all day. Things were burning down throughout the day,
Yeah.
continually, and it was very unsafe in the city in a lot of places. So it took some time to get everyone on the ground, from FEMA, the EPA. Now you got the Army Corps of Engineers, for the city, the local municipalities to come in,
Yeah.
right? The tax assessors, and they have these one-stop locations now where everybody's in one place. But that took a while, right, to come, and they had some things popping up. There was relief efforts at different locations, so it was pretty chaotic. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have a different sentiment across the board on how people feel. I mean, and the biggest part is what didn't happen, or what was done wrong, or what could have happened in the process of fighting the fire.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the biggest conversation of what took place and why. Right? And those are the questions that everyone has.
So yeah. So some of the top questions are, was there not enough water in the fire hydrants? Was there not enough resources budgeted for these fire departments? Not enough strategic planning? Should buildings be built differently? There's like tons of these questions that are coming up, since California is prone to fires for so long. It's like, how do you grapple with that? And it's like,
yeah, those are really deep conversations, man. I mean, being, homegrown from Altadena and Pasadena, and talking to, many friends and family members about the experience, everybody feels a certain type of way. I watched my office burn in real time. I saw it burning. I have a video of the fire truck driving by my office while it was engulfed in flames. Like, I'm watching that, right?
Yeah.
To see it, the devastation, I was paralyzed. I was stunned. I don't even remember much more, and then the mass shit is down the street.
Yeah.
So the only two things I remember is seeing that and driving down the street, seeing the mass shit. Everything else I don't even remember.
Yeah.
People ask me questions, what you saw, but I saw the fire truck ride by.
Mhm.
But the truth of the matter was, there was nothing they could do for our office.
Yeah.
When our office was burning down like that, they couldn't save it at that time. You know what I mean? So some of those things I'm starting to learn about, and I'm sure my opinion may change to that degree, but some things that I did, information I've come into grasp with is the understanding that it takes potentially 2 fire trucks to put out a whole house fire.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
We have over 9,000 structures that's gone in the city, right? And over 6,000 that are single family residents, that are houses, that are homes. I think we have less than 4,000 trucks in the state, right? So the water situation and the power being out, I don't really have those answers. I don't know. I know that at the peak, the fire was moving approximately, to my understanding, 300 yards a minute at its peak. You know what I mean? So we're talking about 100-mile-an-hour winds with a fire. Like, we've experienced crazy windstorms, but I don't believe we've had anything higher than 70, 80 miles an hour.
Right there.
You know what I mean?
You explained an analogy that a brother described the wind coming off the hill. You remember that analogy?
He said it was like a blowtorch. You know, that was, you know, my dear friend and brother Zaire Calvin, whose sister died in the fire.
From Malawi,
and Sister Rashida's daughter, who was one of the founding community members of Masjid Al-Taqwa. You know, her daughter died, and he described it that way. He said it was like a blowtorch coming off the mountain. And he said, man, it was unnatural. You know, we heard reports of fire embers the size of baseballs and grapefruits traveling 2 to 5 miles in the air. I mean, this is, you know, and to experience it, we went back to our house at 6:30 in the morning to try to grab some things and get our car out of the driveway after receiving an evacuation. That was at 5 a.m. In the morning, and the sky was black. It was black. You couldn't see the sky. And my particular house where I live did not burn down. And most of the properties west of Lincoln Avenue did not burn down. But yet it was black. You couldn't see the sky until about maybe 7:15. Then the sky peaks out. So to think about the winds and the fire of that magnitude and what you could see or didn't see, I mean, it's really hard to
just pinpoint out
it, and everybody has a particular feeling about it, and I think everybody has a right to feel how they feel.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you know, Allah has a plan, right? It's like we can't, you know,
yeah.
You know, some things just happen and it's part of our test. When you think about Omar as president, he talks a lot about.
You say he threw that in again? My president, engineer. You see that? See he threw that in there?
Man.
So he said that he talked about the people of Gaza. It's like, why they can live a better life. They can just go somewhere else. They're gonna push them out, and they're gonna go live in some other country. You think about that concept, and you apply it here. Like many people don't. Like, would you leave Altadena and be like, hey, I'm gonna go live a new life in Orange County, and that's it? Like, do people think like that?
Nah, that's not a thing, man. I mean, you know, I think the trauma, you know, is gonna cause a certain amount of people to leave. I think the experience is gonna cause a certain amount of people to leave, and I'm not gonna say that's a choice. That's gonna be circumstance. That's gonna be, you know, financial, you know, breakdown. That's going to be trauma induced. That's going to be all those things. But to say that somebody's going to come in and tell you to leave, right? I mean, you know, the people at Altadena and Pasadena are very proud. You know what I mean?
So they want to stay. And that's not like they just want
maybe
to go.
even prouder than the people at Compton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, you know what I mean?
You gotta drop a few records.
I call those in Altadena. I call Altadena Atlantis. You know what I'm saying? Because it's if you ever watch Aquaman, there's a pride about Atlanteans. Stay out of my ocean. Stay out of my
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Don't bring that to this community. And you feel that same pride in Atlantis, in Altadena.
Yeah.
And but Altadena is another borough
Mm-hmm.
of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It has a whole lot of history, self-esteem, confidence,
Mm-hmm.
everything that Compton has and LA has, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't migrate from one to another or have family members in these areas.
Right.
Yeah, Pasadena's nice. I went ice skating there once.
Yeah.
Yeah, ice skating.
Yeah. They
Ice
did.
skating
They,
ring.
they did have an ice skating rink. That's down there by the Pasadena Civic Center.
So what's next
You
for you, Master Altaqua? You know, the fundraisers look like it's successful. You know what I'm saying? What's the next move?
In terms of Mash It Out Taco, you know, it's a long journey. I mean, you know, we're still like everybody else in the city. The cleanup process is gonna take some time. You know, we're all hoping it's gonna go quick. You know, the phase 1 cleanups have already started.
Okay.
You know, that's already started. However, phase 1 is not gonna be as in depth because they're grabbing, you know, hazardous waste off the properties, but it's only things that they can see.
While we
You
on
know.
camera, I want to address this. People who donate money, why did have they came in with their personal opinion of what you should be doing to their perspective, and they're not close to the pain as you are?
Absolutely.
Why do
know.
people do that?
You know, I don't know.
You don't have to answer it, but I'm just saying.
I don't know, man. I think it's wrapped up in a lot of things. I think most people's, you know, intention is good. You know, for the most part, I do believe that. You know, however, you know, I think people, you know, they act, you know, quicker than thinking it through. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think that's kind of it. And sometimes you're not. If you're outside of the situation,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the same sensitivity to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If it's not directly impacting you, you just don't have the same sensitivity to it. I mean, it's. I just think that's a reality, you know, because you have a lot of that stuff, but you know, most of the board of the masjid was impacted,
Yeah.
right?
I think the
And-
people who should speak are the ones closer to the pain.
Absolutely, 100%. You know that's who it should be, and the community should be, you know, patient with that reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you know it's an unimaginable devastation. You know, to wake
People
up
are
the next
impacted.
day and your property and homes are gone. I mean, that's just,
Yet alone the kids
you
who
know.
have to come back to who's asking questions that you can't really answer. Why is
Yeah.
this? Why is that?
Absolutely, and that's a hard thing for you to wrap your head around. I mean, you know, for everybody, you know, all the generations of people who were there, you know, from my parents to my generation to my children, and you know, and then younger children than that. Like, I mean, everything is disrupted. Your whole world, you know, your whole way of life, your whole function. So, yeah, I think people react. I think the overall response, though, from people, you know, in the immediate community, in the Muslim community, you know, organizationally, you know, on the national level, global level, I think people, to our boss's point, respond to, you know, crisis to that point. So people are rushing in. And sometimes, you know, those things, you don't have all the sensitivities to know how to do things right. You know what I mean? You know, but having a good circle, right, and support system, you know what I mean? You know, like you calling me and saying, man, look, what do you need? And my immediate response being, I don't know. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I can't even figure out what the next step is, right? But then that need, right, and you know, other organizations stepping in and saying, look, what can we do? What can we do? And then it just coming together, you know, and it don't have to be perfect, but the benefit and the blessing of the efforts is what's important, and that the people get,
So,
you know, support.
in closing, what's the one thing that you want the people to know about the resilience of Masjid al-Taqwa, the resilience of Rebound, and the Atlanteans in Altadena?
You know, in terms of Masjid al-Taqwa has been around for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, the masjid was established, in the late 1970s, coming out of making the transition, right, out of the Nation of Islam, coming through the leadership of Warfdeen Muhammad, and the masjid was established in the late 1970s, and it was a journey to get to the location that we were at now, right? It took years. We were at multiple locations. It was a small group of African American Muslims who started the community and upheld the community for many years and bounced from location to location until we ended up at 2181 North Lake Avenue,
Okay.
right? Which we've been there for maybe 25 years approximately, or so. But and the community has grown and flourished, right, into a larger community, a multicultural community, and it's become a beautiful family-centered community. You know what I mean? So I think the resilience is there. The people support it. The people love it. The Muslim community wants it to come back, right? And it will come back. We just need patience and time, to get it back together, and it will come back together. There's no other mission or message that's being sent that says we're not going to rebuild, because we are going to rebuild. That's for sure.
Right.
In terms of Rebound, it's those are the hooks, for myself, being grounded in the community, right? Family being a part of the masjid community. Continue these efforts now that are bigger, right? Because centered around Job Corps and, trying to bring opportunities to people.
Perfect name for the situation.
Yeah. No, it
Rebounding.
is. It is, because we got to rebound. We got a lot to do. It's going to be a long time. The community is going to need extended support. It's going to be very multiple processes to get to the other side. And, Altadena it's a strong community. It really was a thriving, to be correct about it, it was a thriving community, a large historic African American community that struggled to gain ownership in the community over years, right? And there was redlining in Altadena, just like it was redlining in Pasadena. Those things are factual, right? In 1950, it was approximately 1% African Americans in Altadena. In 1960, it was approximately 5%. By 1970, it was approximately 27%. This is the actual true history, right? And after the Civil Rights Bills in 1964 and the Equal Housing Opportunity Acts passed in 1968, then the home ownership grew. By 1970, it was approximately 27%. By 1980, African Americans made up 43% of Altadena. That was the actual peak, right, of the African American population. And then from that point on, it's declined over the years, right, due to gentrification and financial, economic issues as well, right? And the community has changed, and more, diversity coming into the community. So approximately now we're somewhere between 18 and 20% of the community. So that there's generations of ownership that's been passed down. People really are trying to hold on to that, right? And it is a concern that the community will not stay as diverse as it is, and that the African American presence in the community won't be as strong as it is now in terms of being able to rebuild the community, right? And that is the mission, to maintain the community as it was, and to bring everybody back that wants to come back. That's the mission.
Okay.
Appreciate you, brother Jihad, sharing that story. I know it's a difficult conversation to have, and especially just, it's only been a few weeks. A lot of different things have been happening, a lot of moving parts, and we continuously make dua, and as I mentioned earlier, all of this takes human beings. So
Absolutely.
it's human connection between one another. It's almost like You know, when you think about the seerah and the life of the Prophet ﷺ, you had the Muhajirin, you had the Ansar, you had people that were combining efforts, right? And that concept could be beyond, you know, just that particular setup, but it could be just us as a community here, Muslim community in Southern California, saying, hey, I'm going to help one family rebuild. I'm going to put all my resources myself, and you know, we continuously work together as a community to do that. You know, it's commitments to one another, you know, more than anything.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me here.
Sure.
Appreciate the invitation and the support. You know,
anytime, bro.
definitely. You know, may Allah
Anytime.
continue to bless
Anytime,
you
you know.
both and all of us.
We normally argue over T-shirts and watermelon.
Well, you know, I was going to say anytime, but I can't say anytime because I don't know what Omar's president is going to do.
Oh my goodness! There you go again. You and your cat. You and your cat. Do we have to show them the picture you took with Grant Cardone? But I want you to post that picture. You know, he was.
One day.
I want you to post the selfie
Yeah.
of you and Mr. Cardone.
You know, I've been thinking about it. I'm just like, man, you know, my politics. I think with politics, it changes, right? But when we had the last president, we were all critical of the last president. Now we have another president, and we're going to be all critical.
We're always going to be critical of presidents.
Yeah, you're always going to be critical of presidents. So, but
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't know what the end goal is. Like, if there was an actual end goal of this presidency that I could see the light, I don't see the light yet, right? I just see
this is the last presidency before the UN take over. That's just my.
he already cut out the UN. He defunded.
I don't know, man. They ain't going out
He
like
cut
that.
out the WHO to the World Health Organization.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, I don't know one administrative office who does not inherit the problems from the previous administration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Karen Bass inherited the problems of Garcetti.
Mm-hmm.
Trump going to inherit the problems of Biden. Biden inherited the problems of Obama.
Mm-hmm.
People are never going to be satisfied until that day.
Did you see the video of Garcetti? I sent you the video of Garcetti.
Oh, there you go.
You know, I sent a video.
Don't do that to my man. Don't.
No, you know, Garcetti is funny.
I mean,
he
good
became
standing.
he became the ambassador to India.
Yeah.
So he just started doing Bollywood dances and like.
Is that right?
Don't clown my man. Don't clown. Garcia is cool.
I missed
He
that.
gave us a grant. He gave us a grant to do the work in downtown LA where
Okay.
I created jobs. Don't do my man.
It's
like
just
that.
funny that he
So you gotta
became
give him his
went
props
into
for that.
I gotta give
Bollywood.
him his props.
You gotta
He,
give him his
he
props
gives a
for that.
I
grant
guess
to
it's problem.
do
I'm
the
not even
work.
bashing. I'm just saying it's funny that he's doing Bollywood dancing and stuff.
Your man want to invite people to iftar and serve Burger King. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
Your president, rather. Well, with that being said, this is In Living Gray. It's not a podcast. It's a conversation. Please follow us or hit the subscribe button. And you can follow us all day long here.
I think maybe next time we talk about Snoop. That's been a
Oh my
conversation.
goodness, that's a whole nother. Leave Snoop out of this. I don't know what's going on with Snoop. You know, he's on a whole nother. That's above my pay grade. I don't know what's going on with them. Snoop would have to be here.
Snoop spent a lot of time in Compton, so I don't know what's going on.
He spent a lot of time everywhere, but he would have to be here to comment on his situation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
Well, we'll get to it.
Okay, we'll see.
Inshallah.
Bismillah.
All right. Appreciate you, sir.
Oh, man.